Hi, this is Trisha Gell Roberts, and welcome to my 8th episode of my Wellness and Transformation vlog, Thoughts on Everything. Today's episode is called Momala, and if you haven't heard that term before, that is apparently the nickname that Kamala Harris's stepchildren call her. I guess they didn't want to call her stepmom or whatever like that, so they call her Momala. And my first reaction when I found out that she had gotten the nomination for the Democratic vice presidential candidacy was I was just really excited. You know, she wasn't my original candidate, but she's qualified. And I didn't know her very well. I feel like I've gotten to know her a little bit more since the Democratic National Convention. But at the time, I was just excited. She's a black girl, she's qualified, and she got nominated. But before I could do my, Beyonce victory dance in the kitchen, the haterade started, like for real. And it wasn't even just from the majority population, it was from black people. And I was like, stop it. So a few of the things that I saw, one was that Biden only chose her to secure the black vote, which is not true because we were all going to vote for him anyway. Like, what is our other option? Another 4 years of tyranny? Seriously? But besides that, black people historically started voting Democratic after FDR's New Deal, after the Depression. So it makes sense for us to continue to vote in our own best interest because we're smart like that. The second thing that I saw was she put black people in prison. And I'm like, well, yeah, she was the attorney general, so that would happen. I mean, I had seen some stuff about her putting parents in jail because of the kids' truancy, and I didn't like that. And I can't say that I know all the details around that. Of course, I don't know all the details around anything, right? There's a lot of information for everything. But at the end of the day, if she was an attorney general, she was going to have to put people in prison, right? Black people, white people, all different kind of ethnicities of people. So that was, not making a lot of sense to me. A couple of things that I did learn though, which is she was not involved in the Oscar Grant case, which was the one that was shown in the movie Fruitvale Station, which was actually a really good film, although it is heartbreaking, like so much of what we have been experiencing in the black community in America in 2020, but basically kind of forever. So I was happy to learn that. And it seems like she's gone back and forth a little bit with the death penalty, but she's not a proponent of the death penalty. So I was happy about that because I am not a proponent of the death penalty. So there were those things. And, the other thing that I saw that, just irks me is people saying she's not black enough because she's mixed with Indian or her father's from Jamaica or whatever. And I'm just like, you know what, just stop it. Everybody just sit down. So then I got to thinking, why do we act like this sometimes? Like why when somebody in the black community does really well, you get that hater nation or haterade or haterification, whatever that is that happens. And I was thinking about, when I was growing up in Brooklyn, we used to call it ranking back then. I've seen it referred to as the dozens. I don't think I heard that term at the time. But basically it was your mama jokes and, whatever the meanest / funniest thing you could say to a person. And then you had to come with a comeback. And honestly, I was never good at this game. It was just always something where I was like, why do I want to hurt people's feelings? This game is not fun. I don't even know what I was doing when people was playing the game. I was probably just like chilling in a corner or something. But what I learned was that this was a game that actually shows up in some African cultures. I would imagine that there are some benefits in learning kind of how to have a thick skin. And then the name the dozens, I did some research. If you read the actual blog, you will see links to my research. But there were a couple of explanations for why the name was the dozens. One was that slave or enslaved people were sold by the dozen. Another one was that enslaved women were raped by the dozen. Both of those are terrible. But we do have this history of terrible oppression and terrible humiliation and families being separated and just all of this horrible trauma that has really never been appropriately addressed, right? So I was thinking that this thing that we have with breaking each other down that shows up in this game that I think every Black person has probably been exposed to. I don't know. I'm not everybody. I'm only me. But I was thinking to myself, okay, well, if that is a part of a culture, how do we turn that around? Like, what can we do? Because, we all have these moments where we get just a little bit jealous. We may not always express it like in these ridiculous ways, but, sometimes you just feel that little thing inside you where you're like, why'd they get the snow cone and I didn't get the snow cone? You know what I mean? Whatever it is. So I was thinking about, okay, how can we kind of manage some of the hateration when it rises in us? So my first thought was, I think, always self-awareness and self-reflection helps, right? So I think the first thing is to realize everybody's a person and nobody is perfect, even if they are celebrities or public figures or the person living in the house with you, right? And once you recognize that nobody's perfect, we all make mistakes, it can hopefully enhance your level of compassion so you're not just out here hating on folks, especially at a time when, we all need each other's support. So that was one, I think, just recognizing this idea of us all having that imperfection. And then the other thing is, I hear a lot where people will say something crazy and they'll say, well, I got a right to my own opinion. And this is true. We do all have a right to our own opinion. However, we do not have the right to spread false information or what I like to call false theories, right? So you can have an opinion, but your opinion can't be like, well, it's my opinion that women are stupid. That's not an opinion. You're just showing your own, right, sexism and your own ignorance, right? So that's not an opinion. That is just spreading of a false theory. So whether it is racism or sexism or, xenophobia, what they call fear of foreigners, or any other kind of ism, whether it is, homophobia, transphobia, speciesism, which is the belief that your species is better than every other species. Any of those mindsets are false theories. So no, you're not entitled to that opinion. It's not an opinion. It's just you spreading nastiness, really, right? So let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's remember that none of us are perfect and we all have a right to our opinion as long as we're not out here spreading nastiness. So those were my first 2 steps for killing hateration. My third step is that is it a step? Well, yeah, I'm gonna call it a step. So there is no pie, okay? So if I do well, it's not taking anything away from you. I have a book out now. I would like to sell 1 million copies. People buy more than one book. You can have a book and you can sell 1 million copies too. We can all have books. We can all sell 1 million copies and maybe the world will read more and it'll be fantastic. There's an example that I like to give with this kind of thing about there is no pie. It's not a zero-sum game. When Starbucks, I can't say it, but it's like one of my favorite places to go. When Starbucks came into the coffee scene, there was a big concern that they were going to put mom and pop coffee shops out of business. But that is not ultimately what happened. What happened is that they expanded the market for coffee and coffee related products. So sometimes a mom and pop shop that's on the same block or in the same area or close proximity to a Starbucks will actually do better because they're drawing people into the area, they're expanding people's interest in coffee, they've made more kind of products available, like all these flavors and things that they have made very popular. So it's actually worked out the opposite way. So there is no lack of oxygen. There is no lack of resources. There is no pie. So I could do well, you could do well, we could all do well, okay? So congratulations to Momala, Kamala Harris. She's giving me hope right now. And I hope that you guys enjoyed today's vlog, and I hope that it's gonna give you some hope too. Enjoy the rest of your day.